With a population of 1.37 billion, India has only 0.59 physiotherapists for every 10,000 population. As per the statistical data by WHO, there should be one physiotherapist for every 10,000 citizens in India. Considering the Indian population reaching crores, as on date of 24/6/2020, the demand for a number of physiotherapists in India is around 1.4 lakhs. Isn't that a huge number? So according to recently published a report, Indian Physiotherapy Equipment Market Opportunities of 2010 to 20, the physiotherapy equipment market in India is projected to grow at a CAGR over 12% during 2015 and 20 on account of these increasing prevalence of cardiovascular and neurological diseases, expanding elderly population, and also escalating demand for at-home physiotherapy. Moreover, growing awareness about the therapeutic benefits of physiotherapy, such as improving the mobility and strengthening affected body areas, which will be significantly propelling the demand for physiotherapy equipments in India. I am Smita Kumar, and you're watching Medicircle. So today on our healthcare startup series, we are talking to yet another entrepreneur, which is where the innovation and the offering is very much related to the field of physiotherapy. We are talking to Subodh Gupta. Subodh is the founder and CEO of ReLiva Physiotherapy and Rehab. He was a volunteer fellow at the Startup Leadership Program in Mumbai in 2018, and ReLiva is a physiotherapy expert with a large number of physiotherapy clinics, hospital outsourced physiotherapy, and home visits. Let's find out from Subodh how they are facilitating a service which is very much in demand, because the way we used to find a crowd at GPs for cough and cold, now we are finding the same volume of patients outside of physiotherapy clinic. So hi Subodh, welcome to Medicircle.
Thank you, Smita. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I have been seeing an influx of patients, especially for physiotherapy. And you are being the co-founder of a physiotherapy lab, ReLiva Physiotherapy and Rehab. So tell us more about your startup, how you founded, why, and what was the reason behind it, and what's the traction?
Yeah. At ReLiva, we are building a platform to provide comprehensive recovery and rehab support to patients, with physiotherapy as a prime driver. How do we do it? First, we have a pan-India network of physiotherapy clinics where we partner with hospitals to run and manage their physiotherapy department. Currently, we are at 42 locations in 11 cities. Secondly, we have a fairly extensive home physio network. And thirdly, we are also offering condition-specific digital therapeutics program for patients. With this, this sort of bouquet of services, our objective is to reach out to the patients, whatever condition they have, as long as physiotherapy can play a role in their recovery and improvement, we should have an offering for them. So I started ReLiva in 2014 with the objective to build a leading organization specializing in physiotherapy. I'm a mechanical engineer from IIT Kanpur, did my MBA from IIM Lucknow. My co-founder Vaishali is a MBA from MICA. I used to be investment banker before starting ReLiva, and the inspiration for ReLiva actually comes from my mother, who was a chronic pain patient. She suffered for almost 10 years and finally had a spinal surgery which made her better, and that's where I came across physiotherapy. After looking into it a little bit and seeing how it works, I was convinced that this needs to be a lot more consolidated, a lot more bigger than what it is in India. And with that, ReLiva started. Yeah, so it's been a journey of 8 years. In this process, we have now a very, very capable and competent team of physiotherapists and a team in head office. Our business successes, clinical outcomes of the patients, their feedback and reviews, it's all attributed to the team. The fact that we could, peacefully go through COVID, I think there's a lot of understanding now and a lot of unity of purpose in the team, and that's helped us a lot.
That's great to know. So, like, we have other preventative healthcare startup, especially in the field
Yeah,
of physiotherapy, like Physicure is there, 5 Plus Health is there. So, what are your
sure.
unique value propositions?
So, as I said, ReLiva's objective is to provide comprehensive recovery stroke rehab support to the patient, right? Patient comes in different shapes and forms, so to say, right? With different capabilities, different comfort, different level of comfort with digital programs, right? There are a lot of patients who are in a situation where looking at them purely digitally may not be fair to them. It's important that as an organization, as a healthcare organization, we are able to offer to patient a place where they can be treated very, very safely. Yeah, so I think that's something which distinguishes us from the names you have taken. And I would like to make it clear. I'm a big supporter of tele rehab, digital therapeutics, and we started offering it to patients from 2016 onwards. Before this was even a buzzword, because one of the key things in physiotherapy is that it is extremely inconvenient for patients. If you would have gone through a treatment, going on an alternate day or a daily basis to a clinic, waiting, getting the treatment done and coming back is a pain. And we see a lot of patients dropping off,
Yes.
right? So digital certainly plays a very significant role in making the treatment a lot more convenient and accessible to patients. Having said that, not all patients suit that treatment, right? And it's not fair to push all patients onto a digital model. It's important to have a full scope of services for patients. If they want to come to a clinic, you should have a clinic available. If they want therapy at home, you should have that in place. And if they are good for digital, which most of the corporate employees probably in today's date and age would be, that's great, right? So as I said, our USP is to be able to provide a comprehensive service to our patients.
I think while for the younger patients, definitely this digital platform would work, but for the older patients, definitely it's a pain to go on. And many of the patients actually drop the physiotherapy schedule in between because it's long waiting hours, and then you have to go mostly daily on or as alternately,
Yeah.
as you rightly said.
So you're right there, and I think as we move towards future, I think the right solution for this is probably assessment in the clinic, but treatment, digitally. Patients should have an option to come to clinic as and when it's needed, because there's a lot more things you can do in a clinic.
Definitely. So tell us, how many patients have been benefited from ReLiva services so far?
Yeah, so look, we do about 15,000 sessions with about 3,000 patients every month, right? So if I would have to hazard a guess, and I would estimate that in last 7 years, our team would have probably seen more than 1 lakh of patients, right? Yeah. So so that's current scale of things.
And is your startup bootstrapped, or you have received any funding so far?
We are bootstrapped.
Okay. And any plans to raise any fund?
Yes, we would certainly look at it. See, it's important that business comes to a place where you could grow rapidly. When you take funding from investors, it's like taking steroids, right? Or the sort of commonly known word is rocket fuel, right? You should have a rocket in place for that fuel to be to take that fuel. I think we are reaching that stage shortly.
That's great to know. And as you are expanding, so like what were the revenues in your FY 2022, and what you're planning to close at this end of financial year FY 2023?
See, we are a private company in a way. So, roughly I would say that, if we are doing 15,000 sessions a month, each session pricing is tentatively around 400 rupees, right? So that could give you an indication of revenues. In terms of growth, since January onwards, we have been adding 1 location every month, right? And two things are happening right now. One is that post-COVID comfort with coming to clinics and taking physiotherapy services is increasing, right? And that added with new locations is giving us about 4 to 5% growth month on month.
And as you're already present in 11 cities, as you mentioned, so what are your expansion plans for the next set of cities, and where you're planning to open the services?
Yeah, so now the way I look at it is that, if we are in 42 locations, we can be probably in 4,200 locations as well, right? What we have seen is with our partners, we have made a great difference in the way physiotherapy works in those hospitals. Most of our partners have seen revenue increase of 3x from physiotherapy once we've stepped in. A lot more professional, lot more upgraded departments, happy patients, and happy consultants, right, with physiotherapy services. And I was mentioning this earlier, right? From ReLiva's perspective, physiotherapy is not just musculoskeletal and neuro. We treat a lot more than what people think, right? So when we can create products today with our capabilities and skill set for prenatal, postnatal programs, we can create cardiac rehab programs, we can create respiratory rehab programs, depending on what practices the hospitals have. Today, I think we can add value in a whole lot of specialties which a hospital would have.
But let me know, how challenging was it to scale up ReLiva? Because as it's a very personalized service, every patient's case is completely different. So replication for scale model, how was it challenging? Let us know the experience.
So it certainly is challenging, right? So when we started as a bunch of independent clinics, right? And that's where our sort of DNA of patient focus sort of comes in. We started as standard OPD physiotherapy clinics, but we realized that scaling in that format was a bit challenging simply because of fair bit of infrastructural challenges. Let me put it that way. The facility management issues which come around with setting up your own clinics. And when we started partnering with hospitals, 2-3 things happened. One is actually our customers change, right? In a OPD clinic, your customer is the patient. But when you are in a hospital, your customer becomes the consultant, right? Or the surgeon, right? And as a surgeon, he is a lot more capable to say whether what we are doing is right or wrong, right? So that keeps the team on their toes. Yeah, working in a hospital certainly has given us a far more capable team clinically, and experience to work right from ICU to OPD, right? And that's something which otherwise we wouldn't have had. So I think this move from independent clinics to hospital partnerships really helped us in scaling up.
Great. So any learnings, from which you have learned from your part of journey? Because see, you have been doing it for the last 2016. So any thing would you like to share with our fellow entrepreneurs who are watching this startup series with us?
Yes. So I think a couple of things I would say, right? One is you asked about funding, right? A lot of people get into startups to look for funding, right? That probably is not the best approach. It's important for people to figure out what business they want to do and then kind of work on that. And obviously funding is something which should come in as and when your business is ready to take that funding, right? And other thing is as you go around sort of setting up or building up a business, right? It's like doing a Sudoku, and you have done it yourself, right? You start with a bunch of empty squares, right? And you start filling in one thing by other, and as you fill a square, the whole puzzles becomes a little more easier, right? So it takes time, but if you are at it, if you keep filling one square by square, don't get unfazed by the whole puzzle itself. Take up one piece at a time, solve it, move on. It becomes easier.
Definitely. So thank you so much, Subodh, for joining us today at Medicircle. We wish you and ReLiva all the best. And even if you're not trying to raise a fund, because definitely it's trying to solve a very big, huge problem of India. We are actually not sitting correctly. Movements are also it's not the way it should be. I think there are too many people who need these kind of posture corrections, and we need more and more physiotherapists to cater to such a huge crowd. A lot of patients are there who are complaining of back pain. Even spondylitis is very common here in India. So definitely ReLiva is trying to solve a big problem in India. And I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Smita, for this opportunity.